The petition is done. What are the lessons learned from your view? What are the lessons learned this far?
Thanks, Trevor, for having me. I think, first of all, that lessons learned are many, but key among them is that, you know what, our institutions do work. They work. The framers of the constitutions were wise in why they put certain institutions in certain places, and they have worked, and they've been tested, they've been pushed, and it's good to test them once in a while to know that actually they can work, and I think they've worked. I think secondly also, lesson learned is, I think, the maturity of Kenyans themselves. I think I'm amazed because we're practically everywhere in the country talking to people, knowing what's going on the ground. And days to election, after election, through the process of waiting for the court, up to now, you could actually see the maturity of Kenyans. I mean, they took it in stride. I mean, of course, they were anxious, wanting their person to win, but they had resolved to move on, and I think it's really good. And if you look at the mood of the country right now, you don't think we're at an election. I mean, you actually cannot even think of an election. I think that's one of the key lessons learned. And it's a positive thing and needs to be commended and actually reinforces the country. Because to me, if you can do that, then we lay a very strong foundation for the growth of our country. I think that's, to me, is very critical. I think the lesson learned is the issue of, when it comes to leadership. The reason everybody was vying from the MCAs to, of course, the president, now the president-elect, was because we wanted to chart a new course for our country. And guess what? Now we have an opportunity. So for me, I look at the opportunity that we have, and I'm glad what you've said. Now let's look forward to what we have. I think, I mean, there's media lessons learned, but there's also the main takeaways that for our country. And if you look at the international community, I was talking to the Swiss ambassador actually in Bombers, behind the scenes, one time, the VIP room. And this is what he told me. He says, what Kenya has done is not an example just to Africa. Is an example to Europe. Now, he's a Swiss ambassador saying they can learn a lot. I mean, they've seen how we execute our democracy. And so it's a lesson for other, and not just, sometimes we only think of Africa. I think globally speaking, we've set a very high standard in terms of democracy. Actually, the American ambassador was in a meeting just the other day, and she said, actually, it's a lesson for America too, given what happened in January 6th. I mean, we, the Bastard Democracy, we are showing them a good lesson on how to go about democracy. Whether there's a dispute, this is the way to go. You don't have to storm your way through your capital to force away. I mean, it almost worked with Bombers, but nevertheless, like I say, it's your land.
Yeah. And Diana? What lessons have Kenyans learned, the political class and the ordinary citizens as well? Do you agree that institutions work, like Makori say?
I want to say the Constitution works and will continue working. That's definitely a lesson learned. Our institutions wobble, but definitely they remember their mandate, and the anchorage in the Constitution has seen them grow. To be honest, we have seen most of our independent institutions grow in that sense. And curiously, we've been running surveys around key institutions, NCIC, IEBC, National Police Service, the judiciary. In the week leading to the Supreme Court decision, Kenyans rated the conduct of the National Police Service at 80%. 80%, like they are really trying to maintain law and order in a dignified way, which is very impressive. We hope that whatever they did during that period can be carried forward. Another key lesson is, as the president-elect is sworn into office, the political class, legislators move to Parliament and Senate. Let us remember the 40% registered voters who did not vote, who decided, I don't know whether we'll call it abstention, who decided this doesn't matter, doesn't count. That voice is too big to be ignored. That is the one lesson that we have learned. Moving forward from our education curriculum, from our youth, the youth in particular, we must engage them and find out why they spoke so loudly and kept off the election. And finally, the other lesson is we are so far from building a nation. We are so far from calling ourselves one Kenya. The declaration of results, the ruling by the Supreme Court still shows a sharply divided country of ethnic nations. The call and the lesson to us as civic leaders, political leaders, is that moving forward, we must aspire increasingly to build a Kenyan nation where everybody, notwithstanding their ethnicity, where they come from, their age, feels they are a part of whichever government that is elected. And it is a call especially to Parliament as they go in and make their decision to help Kenya keep shining. We have managed to do very well in how we displayed our results, how we carried ourselves. Can we now fly the flag that finally there is one Kenya politically? Okay.
Kawive, what are the takeaway lessons for you when we were here with you all through from the campaign to the declaration to all of it?
Yeah, it's been a tough year for Kenyans. I think the greatest thing for us as a nation, or the biggest lesson that I think we learn, is that this is our country. Now, whatever you say, whatever you do, we have Kenya as the common bond. This is where we belong. This is who we are. The number two is that across the elections divide from MCAs up to the president, I think it's very clear that Kenyans get the kind of leaders that they deserve. Because if you look at the 40% who did not vote, they contributed to who won and who did not win. If you look at the huge youth population that did not participate in the elections because they're saying, so what? So what if we participate? They contributed to what it is that we have. The fact of the two sides are almost equal numbers supporting Raila and supporting Ruto in the elections also goes to show that as a nation we have polarities, and these polarities are things that we can work on, because now whether you supported Raila or Ruto, you did that as a Kenyan, and today Ruto is the president-elect, and we've got one to get used to that fact, number one. Number two, we've got to put in place mechanisms to hold his government to account. And number three, that we've got to ensure that we don't go on a political journey all through. You know, we have this tendency as Kenyans of doing politics 24/7 throughout the 5 years. So we need to have an opportunity to get to work and to get that government to work. And I think the other lesson is that the leaders who came in through the electoral process should put in place mechanisms to ensure that those, especially those who do not support them, feel services being delivered. Because it's our money after all. It is our money, it is, and these leaders are being paid to provide services, not to politics. I think that would be equal opportunities, equal services being delivered across the country is very important for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Makori,